What's up? What's up? What's up, man? What's up? The NFL season is over with, which means it's time. Excuse me. It's time for me to give y'all my first 2024 NFL mock draft. I promise we won't be here that long. As y'all can hear, man, I'm watching the. Excuse me. As y'all can hear, I'm watching the Thunder and Magic play right now. And here in about an hour and a half, I'm gonna be watching my Los Angeles Lakers take on the Pistons. So we don't have all night, y'all. We don't have all night, but it's okay because I already know who I'm going to pick. So we won't need to be here long. We won't need to be here long. What is up with y'all? What is up with y'all? Excuse me. What's going on, man? What's going on with everybody? All right, man. So let's get into it. My first 2024 NFL mock draft. So click start. Let's go. So the first pick, Chicago Bears on the clock. And y'all, this is real easy for me. Listen, I love Justin Fields. I really do. I really, really do. I love Justin Fields. But I think for Chicago Bears, last year they passed up on Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I don't think they're going to do that again this year. So I have the Bears taking Caleb Williams. Next up on the clock with the second pick, we had the Washington Commanders. Obviously, we know the Washington Commanders just got a new head coach, Dan Quinn. And so this franchise moved in a different direction. We know last year they got the new ownership group led by Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. So this is definitely a new era for the Washington Commanders. And we know that they need a quarterback. And I think the quarterback that they're going to take, y'all, is Jayden Daniels, Mr. Heisman Trophy winner himself. So I had them taking Jayden Daniels. I think they're going to like him a little bit more than Drake May. I think they're going to be very intrigued by his arm man leg ability. So I had them taking Jayden Daniels. Next up on the clock, we got the New England Patriots. And they also need a quarterback as well. So with this pick, I have the New England Patriots taking quarterback Drake May. Like I told y'all, we're going to get through this pretty quickly because I already know who I'm going to pick, and there's NBA games on. Next up with the fourth pick, we have the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. The Arizona Cardinals, I know the beginning of the season, people thought, well, maybe they'll get rid of Kyler Murray. But he came back. He ended up playing kind of well. Right? We know the Cardinals don't have a good roster, but Kyler Murray was playing kind of well. And so they won't be taking a quarterback. I think here you got to take Marvin Harrison Jr., the best player in this draft class, in my opinion. So I have the Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Next up, we got the Chargers on the clock with the fifth pick. Chargers got a new head coach, Jim Harbaugh. And what does Jim Harbaugh love to do, y'all? Jim Harbaugh loves to run the football. He loves his offensive linemen. And so with this pick, this is easy for me. I have the Los Angeles Chargers taking offensive tackle Joe out of Notre Dame. Excuse me. Next up, the New York Giants on the clock with the sixth pick. New York Giants, man, they really y'all? They need more playmakers on this team. They need more weapons on this team for whoever their quarterback is going to be. And excuse me, I think it's too high to take another quarterback right here for the Giants. So I have the Giants taking LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who I did a scouting report on last week. So y'all go watch that. Next up on the clock, we have my Tennessee Titans with the seventh pick. And the Titans, obviously, we got our quarterback of the future. We definitely need offensive lineman help. We definitely need cornerback help. But I think now that we have a new head coach, Brian Callahan, who loves to throw the football, we know he heavily influenced them the Bengals taking Jamar Chase a couple of years ago. So with this pick, I had the Tennessee Titans taking wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington. Next up on the clock, we have the Atlanta Falcons with the eighth overall pick. And for the Falcons, again, they're another team, got a new head coach, Raheem Morris. He's a defensive-minded guy. And one thing about Raheem Morris is he's used to having great edge rushers, right? He had Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald with the Rams. When he was in Tampa Bay, he had Gerald McCoy and Levante David. So he's used to like having great defenders. He's used to having players that can be impactful players, but especially on that defensive line, like I mentioned, man, he's also been around a guy like Grady Jarrett before, and the Falcons have a major need at edge rusher. So I have the Falcons taking edge rusher Dallas Turner with this pick. This is going to be a great pick for them. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears back on the clock at pick 9, and I think for the Bears, this is a no-brainer pick in my opinion. You definitely have to listen. I know they have Cole Kmet on the team, but for me, when I was doing this, I was like, man, can you imagine Caleb Williams and Brock Bowers and DJ Moore? I had to have them taking Brock Bowers, man. I just think there's no way they can pass up on Brock Bowers, right? Again, I know you have Cole Kmet, but you got a rookie quarterback. I think you got to take Brock Bowers. Next up for the New York Jets, this is an easy pick for me, y'all. Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle out of Penn State, right? We know that's the reason why Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Aaron Rodgers got hurt literally on the third play of the game in the first game they played against the Buffalo Bills. Why? Because the offensive line stinks. So I have the Jets taking offensive tackle Olu Fashanu. Next up, we had the Minnesota Vikings with the 11th pick. Now, you look at the Vikings, their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, he loves corners, y'all. He loves corners. But he really loves corners that can play man-to-man coverage and can go out there on that island by themselves. So with this pick, and this was an easy pick for me again, I had the Minnesota Vikings taking cornerback Terrion Arnold out of the University of Alabama. Thank you. Thank you. You were extremely prepared. Yes, I did this. I already knew who I was going to take. So I'm just showing y'all. But I already knew who I was going to take. I already had done this, had this ready. I was just already, knew I was going to pick. I'm just doing this live for y'all. But, yeah, I already knew who I was going to take. So let's do a recap for anybody that just joined. We can do a recap. Hold on, let me go back. We can do a recap of the first 11 picks before we continue. So, with the first pick, had the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. With the second pick, had the Commanders taking Jaden Daniels. With the third pick, I had the New England Patriots taking Drake May. With the fourth pick, I have the Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr. With the fifth pick, I have the Chargers taking Joe Alt. With the sixth pick, I have the Giants taking Malik Neighbors. The seventh pick, I have the Titans taking Rome Odunze. The eighth pick, I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Dallas Turner. With the ninth pick, I have the Bears taking Brock Bowers. The 10th pick, I have the Jets taking Olu Fashanu. And then with the 11th pick, I have the Vikings taking Terrion Arnold. For those y'all just joined, those are the first 11 picks. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos on the clock at pick 12. And I know Broncos fans are going to say, Zay, we need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. But, y'all, I don't think any of the quarterbacks are worth taking this high. I mean, you talking about you have J.J. McCarthy left on the board, Michael Penix Jr., but I don't think you take him this high. At least I wouldn't. So, Broncos fans, I think y'all like this because I have y'all taking cornerback Cooper DeJean. And I really look at it, I'm like, Broncos fans, y'all really need a corner, right? You need a corner opposite of A.J. Terrell. And I just think Cooper DeJean would be the perfect guy next to him. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, the Raiders, shout out Antonio Pierce. I was so happy when Antonio Pierce ended up being promoted to head coach after he was named interim head coach last year. And he is the defensive guy. What does Antonio Pierce want, y'all? He's talked about it because I've listened to him. I've listened to him so much in his press conference. He's talking about how he wants to get back to playing Raiders football. Well, y'all know the Raiders back in the day used to have great cornerbacks, right? So let's go ahead and get him another really good cornerback. Man, I had the Raiders taking Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson. I really like Nate Wiggins, and I think That's a big need for the Raiders. They really need secondary help. So I think Nate Wiggins would be a perfect pick. Next up for the Saints, y'all. And I'm higher on this guy than some people are. Okay, this guy that I had the Saints taking, I'm higher on him than some people are, and I understand that. But this was an easy pick. Honestly, this is an easy pick. When you look at the Saints, listen, we know Michael Thomas. I love Michael Thomas, man, but obviously, injuries have kind of derailed his career, unfortunately. You look at their other receivers they have on the roster, Rashid Shaheed. He's a restricted free agent this year. And then obviously they have second-year phenom Chris Olave. But they need another guy, right? Because they're more than likely going to get rid of Michael Thomas. So you really need another guy that can usher in a new era with Chris Olave. And you have two young guys. And this is just an easy pick for me, man. I have Brian Thomas Jr. going to the New Orleans Saints. Now, like I said, I know some people are lower on Brian Thomas Jr. than I am, but as y'all will see, when I do a mock draft, when I do a scouting report on him later, y'all gonna see, man, I love Brian Thomas Jr. I think this dude is gonna be a Pro Bowl wide receiver for years to come. Next up, you have the Indianapolis Colts. My AFC South rival, man. Y'all know, obviously, I don't like the Colts, but you gotta give them their respect. I give them their respect because they had a great year this year. I was surprised they're picking at 15. I thought they were going to be picking probably at 5 or 6. But the Indianapolis Colts, man, I thought long and hard about this, y'all. Long and hard about this, right? Because I'm like, okay, the Colts could use an edge rusher. I was like, but, man, they also could use a wide receiver because they might not bring Michael Pittman back. And, Alec Pierce is like he's just a deep threat guy. So I thought long and hard about this, y'all. I really did. But I ended up settling on edge rusher, and I have the Colts taking Jared Verse. I think the Colts, they definitely use an edge rusher for sure, man. That defense is starting to get older. Some of their best players are like older. Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart. So I think they could use a little bit of youth, especially on their defensive line. Because like I said, DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, they are starting to get a little older. So I think you use some youth on that D-line, add Jared Verse to their edge rusher group. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks, one of my favorite teams. I admit, I like the Seahawks, man. Like a lot of players on that team. Still can't believe they didn't make the playoffs. But when I look at the Seahawks, y'all, this was an easy pick for me. They really need offensive line help. And so I had them taking J.C. Latham, offensive lineman out of Alabama. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, one of my arch rivals. Well, I should really say just one of the I keep saying my like I'm the only Titans fan, but one of the Titans arch rivals. And we look at the Jaguars, man. I know a lot of people gonna say they're going to point to the offense as to why the Jaguars did not make the playoffs this year. But you look at that defense, y'all. That defense was not good. They gave up a lot of yards, right? A lot of yards, y'all, especially in that secondary. They really could use help at corner. Darius Williams, he's getting a little bit older. He's going to be 31. And Darius Williams, he's solid, but he's not your lockdown corner. Tyson Campbell, he had a bit of a down year this year, but that was really due to injury. We saw what he did in 2022. Tyson Campbell was like probably a top 10 cornerback in 2022. So we know he still possesses that talent. He just needs to, remain healthy. And so for me, I looked at this and y'all, again, some of these picks just made a ton of sense. I had them taking Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. Man, is he rising up draft boards. He had Quinyon Mitchell. I just tell y'all a little bit about Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. Man, he had an amazing Senior Bowl. And, he's really rising up draft boards. He definitely will not be a second-round pick. Like a month ago, a lot of people had him going in the second round. I already had him going in the first round. But now it seems like everybody is having him go in the first round. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at pick 18. Now, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I don't know if I got any Bengals fans on here. I might have some Bengals fans that end up watching this video later. And they might not like this pick. And, hey, I'm fine with that. They might not like this pick. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. But Bengals, when I look at y'all, this is my thing, right? When I was going, my dog process with this pick was, with y'all's pick was this, okay? Obviously, very, very, very talented receiver core. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Now, Tyler Boyd is going to be a free agent, right? T. Higgins is a free agent. Or excuse me, he is going to be a free agent as well. Even if y'all franchise tag T. Higgins, you're probably not going to be able to come to a long-term contract agreement with him, right? Because y'all Bengals fans, y'all know next year you got to pay Jamar Chase. So can you really have two receivers making $30+ million? I don't think you can have that. I don't think you can have two receivers making $30+ million. So for me, and again, I know some Bengals fans probably not going to like this, but I have y'all taking wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State, man, the physical freak that he is. And honestly, when you look at Keon Coleman, he's very similar to T. Higgins in terms of just size and physicality. And I think T. Higgins is a better catcher, and I think T. Higgins is a more refined route runner than he is. But in terms of like physical build, him and Keon Coleman are very, very, very similar. Next up, we had the Los Angeles Rams. Man, the Rams, who in the world thought this team was going to the playoffs? I certainly didn't. When I look at the Rams, though, right? Now, some people say the Rams could think about quarterback again. I still want to do that. I think Matthew Stafford, I know he's going to be 36, but Matthew Stafford showed this year he's still a pretty darn good quarterback, right? Like, he really is. So I wouldn't do that. I know some people will say take receiver because you're going to trade Cooper Kupp. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I would keep Cooper Kupp. I would just try to maybe restructure his contract. But I would keep Cooper Kupp in just my opinion. I still think Cooper Kupp is good. Listen, I know Puka Nacua had a great year, but I would still keep Cooper Kupp around, right? Like Cooper Kupp is a veteran player, and he still can play in this league. And at worst, he's still a number 2 wide receiver. He might not be a number 1 wide receiver anymore, but he still can be a number 2 wide receiver. But when I look at the Rams, y'all, I'm just like, dang, the Rams were at their best when they had a lockdown cornerback in Jalen Ramsey. And so my thought process was, hey, let's get him a dude that maybe he's not a lockdown corner the way Jalen Ramsey is, but let's get him a dude in Kool-Aid McKinstry, who is very similar to Jalen Ramsey in terms of build, 6'1", 195 pounds, and is a press man-to-man corner. He does need to clean up some things with his technique, but I think Kool-Aid McKinstry, man, will fill a gaping hole for the Los Angeles Rams. They really need to improve their secondary, man. They gave up 245 yards a game, y'all, through the air. That's not great. So they really need to improve their secondary. Next up, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, I said it, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for me, I didn't even realize, and I like this guy, I didn't even realize that I had this guy falling this far down in my mock draft. But to me, y'all, this would be a match made in heaven. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Illinois defensive tackle Jersey Newton. Man, Steelers fans, some of y'all ain't going to like that. I get it. Because you're going to be like, no, we need to take a quarterback. Kenny Pickett's not it. No, we need to take a cornerback. But to me, y'all, we talk about Cameron Hayward. Shout out Cameron Hayward. He won NFL Man of the Year, man. Shout out to Cam Hayward for doing that. But Cam Hayward's going to be 35. And I think y'all really need to get younger at that position, right? Last year, you took Wisconsin defensive tackle Keanu Benton, who had a really solid rookie season. Y'all just need to give him more playing time next year, which I think he will. But I think, if you're able to add a guy like Jersey Newton, and you have him and Keanu Benton in that defensive line group, I mean, y'all, that would honestly be one of the best young defensive tackle groups in the defensive line groups in the league right there. I think, obviously the Eagles, they have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. But it's not too many teams really that I can think of that will have those kind of players in their defensive line group. So I think they'll make a ton of sense for y'all. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins. And again, this is another guy that I like, but I guess just the way my mock draft played out, I had him falling to pick 21, but this is a match made in heaven too for the Dolphins. This is a guy, he actually reminds me a lot of a dude they have on roster right now named Jalen Phillips. And this guy I'm talking about, I can never pronounce his first name, y'all, but a lot too out of UCLA. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Phillips, man. Very, very, very bendy. He's very bendy, which I like. He's very twitchy, and he's just athletic as heck, man. And you have him and Jalen Phillips. As we know, Jalen Phillips tore his ACL last year. He should be ready to go because he did that, in November, I believe. So he should be ready to go by the start of the season. But if he's not, you can slide Latu in. Again, I can't pronounce his first name, but you can slide him in. And then when Jalen Phillips does come back, I mean, dude, you're talking about you have two very athletic, speedy edge rushers. Oh, man, that would be amazing, amazing, amazing. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. And we know the Eagles, obviously, their defense was really, 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 really bad, particularly in their secondary. Now, we know Howie Roseman, what does he love to do, y'all? He loves to take defensive linemen and offensive linemen in the draft, right? He really loves doing that. He's not big on really taking skill. He'll take skill positions, but he's not big on that, right? Howie Roseman loves to invest in the O-line and D-line, right? He loves to do that. So y'all probably think I'm going to go with an offensive lineman, but I'm not. I have the Eagles taking Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia. Y'all, the Eagles really, really need to get younger and more athletic. Talk about athlete. Kamari Lassiter is one of the best athletic corners in this draft class, man. And he is an absolute dog on that field. He's a dog on that field. And I think he would kind of inject not only some youth, man, but also athleticism into that cornerback group for the Eagles that they really need, y'all. That the Eagles really need that. You know, I like Darius Slay. I like James Bradbury. But they're older. They're slower than they once were. And it showed this year in a major way. So I know, and some Eagles fans probably not going to like this, because I know y'all are so used, you're so used to Howie Roseman not really taking corners, him just going offensive, defensive line. But no, y'all have to go corner. I have y'all taking Kamari Lassiter. So, hey, he's a really good player. I mean, if that ends up happening, man, you'll be getting a really, really good player at pick 22. Like, seriously, a dude that has maybe not all pro potential, but definitely has Pro Bowl level potential. And that would be a great pick for y'all. Next up for the Houston Texans, easy pick, y'all. When I was doing this, again, some of these picks were just easy. Some of these picks I had to take my time and really kind of think about it. And some of these were just no-brainer picks because they fit so well. We know the Texans, great season, man, led by a rookie quarterback and rookie head coach, C.J. Stroud, DeMeco Ryans, other young star players like Christian Harris, like Derek Stingley, like Nico Collins, like Tank Dell, like Juice Scruggs. Man, this Texas team is young, exciting, and fun. But as we saw in that last game, man, when the Ravens blew them out, C.J. Stroud was running for his life. So you got to protect your young QB. You got to protect him, and you can protect him in a big way, both literally and figuratively. You can protect him in a major way. By going and drafting Amarius Mims, man, the big offensive tackle out of Georgia. That would be amazing. I mean, can you have Amarius Mims on one side, and then you have Shaq Mason at guard, Drew Scruggs at center, Kenyon Green at left guard, and you got Laramie Tunsil at tackle, at the other tackle spot. Y'all, that is a really, really, really good offensive line. Then you will have like Titus Howard as depth, George Fant, if y'all bring him back as depth. That's a really, really good offensive line. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys, a.k.a. America's team, allegedly. But out of the Cowboys taking J.J. McCarthy, now I'm playing. The Cowboys, obviously, they will not be taking a quarterback. Now, look at the Cowboys, right? They could go a lot of different ways. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the ones I had to think about. Because I'm like, the Cowboys, okay, Tyron Smith, he's 33, gonna be 34 this year, and he's a free agent. They might not want to re-sign him long term. Then I was like, but they really could use a wide receiver because Brandon Cooks like low-key disappointed, and they still don't have a number 2 wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb. And then I was like, but they could kind of use corner a little bit because, just Stephon Gilmore, they probably won't re-sign him. Trayvon Diggs is coming off a major injury, so you might want to just ease him back in slowly. So I was like, what are the Cowboys going to do? What do you going to have the Cowboys do? Well, y'all, I'll tell you, this is why the Cowboys do. I had the Cowboys take it, and this will really piss me off if this happens, but I had the Cowboys taking A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver, out of Texas, the 6'4", 205-pound monster himself. That's why I had the Dallas Cowboys taking is A.D. Mitchell. I look at it and I'm like, wow. Okay, you have CeeDee Lamb, but outside of that, you really don't have nothing. Okay, and maybe Brandon Cooks will have a better second season for the Cowboys. I think expectations were a little too high for him, right? I think coming into the season, everyone thought Brandon Cooks going to be a number 2 wide receiver. He's going to get 1,100 yards. Y'all, let's be honest. Brandon Cooks is good. He's a good player, but he's a number 2 wide receiver at best. The Cowboys try to make him a number 2 wide receiver, but I think, man, A.D. Mitchell is definitely a number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. Heck, I even think he kind of has potential to be a number 1 wide receiver, but if the Cowboys drafted him, he would be a great compliment to CeeDee Lamb. So that's why I had him taken. I hope this doesn't happen because, man, A.D. Mitchell is going to be a real good player in this league, and I think people are sleeping on him, but I got to be fair. I had them taking A.D. Mitchell. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers. Man, congratulations to the Green Bay Packers on the season they had. All those young players. Woo! Man, the Packers they're one of those teams, man. Them and the Texans, y'all. I'll tell you, the Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans are not going anywhere. Okay, let me repeat. The Green Bay Packers and Houston Texans aren't going anywhere. They got so much young talent on both of those teams. Man. And then them quarterbacks, they got C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love. Man, Jordan Love is a bad boy. That dude is a bad boy. And all them young receivers, Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Doubs. Man, I'm telling you, the Green Bay Packers and Houston Texans are here to stay. But when I was looking at the Packers, I'm like, okay, the Packers are kind of, on offense, they're kind of set. Obviously, they could go tackle, but on offense, they're set. They have their quarterback. They have their wide receiver group. I think they'll bring Aaron Jones back, but even if you don't, you wouldn't. Obviously, there's no running back worthy of taking in the first round this year. But I'm like, okay, offensively, they're kind of set. But then I start looking at that defense, y'all. I'm like, oh, okay. The Packers, I'm like, you could use a corner. Obviously, they traded away Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline. I'm like, okay, you could use a corner. I was like, they could use an edge rusher because they're probably not going to bring Preston Smith back. I was like, okay. So I was just thinking. But at the end of the day, y'all, I settled on Penn State cornerback Kalen King. I think this will be a really, really good pick if they decide to go this route. I mean, the Packers, you pair Kalen King with Jair Alexander, and boom, man. Now the Packers are back to playing their style of football, right? The Packers, when they've been at their best, it felt like the Packers, especially when their defense has been great, they've always had, like, great secondaries, man. I mean, you remember when they went the last time they went to and won the Super Bowl, they had a great secondary. So I feel like they need to get back to that style of play. So I had them taking Kalen King. Man, this team right here, y'all, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what they did, obviously, how they destroyed the Eagles in the playoffs, and then let's talk about the job that Todd Bowles did with these guys. But I mean, so many people thought the Buccaneers going to be like a 4 or 5 win team, and then they just casually go to the playoffs, win a game, not just win it, but they blow out a team that everyone kept saying, or a lot of people kept saying was going to go to the Super Bowl. That didn't happen. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wow, shout out to Todd Bowles, man. You did a great job, my man, because people early in the year, people were calling for his job, and he rose to the occasion, man. He led his team to the playoffs, and shoot, they came very close to going to the NFC Championship game. But when I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, I really like what they have in place, though. They got some young dudes on defense, Kalijah Kancey, Yaya Diaba. Obviously, their secondary, they still got guys like Carlton Davis, Antoine Whitfield Jr., even though they need to bring him back. They also got some veteran players like Chris Godwin, like Mike Evans, like Levante Davis. So this team has a good mix of veterans and young guys. So to me, and again, this is a guy, I can't believe he was still on the board, but I think this is more of a upside pick, right? This is more of an upside pick. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Chop Robinson. Y'all, I didn't even know that was his actual name. I have never seen that before. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to pronounce it. That's when I was doing this, I was like, who is that? And I'm like, that's Chop Robinson's real name. I didn't even know what his real name was because all I ever known him by was Chop. So I didn't even know that was his real name. But yes, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Chop Robinson, edge rusher, out of Penn State. I almost said Florida State, out of Penn State. And to me, this is an upside pick. Chop Robinson, he's not a finished product. He's not a finished product yet. But that's okay. That's okay because the reason that's okay because, y'all, is because I think the Buccaneers are going to transition to a more younger team, right? That's not to say they're not going to bring back Mike Evans, Levante David, but y'all saw what they did last year, right? Last year, they got rid of a lot of the veteran players that they did have. So I think they're kind of in a bit of transition. That, yeah, they could still bring back some of their veteran players, but I think they're going to go youth movement. So they will have the time to wait on Chop Robinson. He's not a finished product yet, but that's okay. You don't need him to be a finished product, right? Because the Buccaneers are not looking to go to the Super Bowl next year. This is not like a team. You know, there's some teams down here later, y'all, that we'll get into, like, the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Lions. These are teams that is heading into next season that are expecting to go to and compete and potentially win the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers aren't looking to do that. Obviously, every team will say we want to go to the Super Bowl. I'm saying the Buccaneers, they're just trying to build their future because they thought this year was going to be just kind of like that bridge year for them. And then they end up going to the playoffs. So I think you got time to wait on Chop Robinson. He's not a finished product yet, but this would be a great pick by them. Next up, we have the Cardinals back on the clock at pick 27. And again, y'all, for me, this was another easy pick, as I have the Arizona Cardinals taking defensive tackle Byron Murphy out of Texas. Man, that Cardinals defense was so bad against the run this year, y'all. So bad. They desperately need to improve the trenches. So I had them taking Byron Murphy. And, man, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Byron Murphy, really great start by the Arizona Cardinals. Next up, we had the Buffalo Bills, a.k.a. the team that always disappoint come playoff time. And the Bills, man, it's a lot of questions, y'all. You talking about the Bills, they're about $50 million over the salary cap. Let me repeat, the Buffalo Bills are about $50 million over the salary cap. Yeah. They're about $50 million over the salary cap. So they got a lot of things to figure out just so they could get below the salary cap line. They also have a major need at wide receiver. There's questions about whether Stephon Diggs will still be on the team. Now, their general manager, Brandon Beane, he did say that he still thinks Stephon Diggs is the number one wide receiver in the league. But, and I don't disagree with that. I think Stephon Diggs, he just kind of, sometimes as athletes, man, they can go through a little just rough patch. I don't think that defines a man's entire career because he might have 6 or 7, kind of bad or mediocre games. When he's shown you, Stephon Diggs has shown us his entire career that he's been a really, 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 really good receiver in the league. So I agree with Brandon Beane in that, yes, Stephon Diggs is still number one wide receiver. But outside of that, you desperately need to get better. You need to get more playmakers, y'all. Listen, I like Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis is not a number 2 wide receiver. So with all that being said, I had the Buffalo Bills, and drum roll, I wanted the Buffalo Bills fans would love this. I think they would have had the Buffalo Bills take a wide receiver, Xavier Legette, out of South Carolina, man. That dude is a freaking yak monster, man. He reminds me so much, y'all. So much of like Deebo Samuel and Alshon Jeffrey mixed into one. So it'd be a great pick by the Bills. They desperately need, y'all. Let me repeat. They need more talent at the receiver position. Let's call spade a spade. They need more talent at the receiver position. Next up, we had the Detroit Lions, who a lot of people felt like should have went to the Super Bowl, right? And looking back, yeah, you're right, because the Lions literally were up 24-7, and they blew a 17-point lead in the second half. But with that being said, though, let's just take away from what they did. Lions had an incredible season, man. I mean, they won 2 playoff games the same year. Heck, they hadn't even won 1 playoff game since '91. So they did. I mean, there was basically a record for them, right? Because they won 2 playoff games in the same season. But when you look at the Lions, man, this is a team that is led by their offense, which is great, y'all, but that defense is really bad. And so I really think this is going to be a controversial pick. But this is the guy that I like more than a lot of people like. And again, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being different. I'm okay with being unique. This is the guy that I like more than some people like. But I don't have the Lions taking cornerback TJ Tampa out of Iowa State. Now, I think TJ Tampa, I'm going to be honest with you, I think he's a guy that could end up going in the first round depending on what he runs at the combine. Because when you look at TJ Tampa, you're talking about a dude that's about 6'3", 200 pounds, is a hard hitter, y'all. Can play man and zone, even though he's more of a zone corner, but can play both. And has long arms, y'all. Long arms. I can't wait to see what his measurements are going to be at the draft. Excuse me, at the scouting combine here in a couple of weeks. I cannot wait to see what his measurements are going to be. But you're talking about a dude with that size, with that physicality, can play man and zone, long arms. And we know, man, shout out to the Lions GM, Brad Holmes. What does Brad Holmes love, y'all? He loves him some tough dudes. Him and Dan Campbell both, they love him some tough son of a guns. TJ Tampa's a tough son of a gun. I think he would just feel like a glove. I think the city of Detroit, man, I think he just fit perfectly. When I was doing this, I was like, yep, TJ Tampa to the Lions just makes so much sense. So I had them taking TJ Tampa. All right, y'all, the last 3 picks. We had the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens just had their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, man. He won his second MVP. Congratulations to him. When you look at the Ravens, man, they definitely could use a corner. They definitely could use a wide receiver because I don't think they're going to bring back Odell. I don't think they will, but maybe they will. But they could use a wide receiver, could use a corner, could use an edge rusher because both Jadeveon Clowney, Calvin Noy are free agents. But, and again, Ravens fans, this is not going to be probably the most sexiest, flashiest pick for y'all, but I think this pick makes a ton of sense. I had the Baltimore Ravens taking Braylon Trice, edge rusher, out of Washington. Y'all, when I was doing this, I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I almost had the Ravens taking Lamb McConkey, wide receiver out of Georgia. I almost did. But then I was like, no, Zay. the Ravens have always been known to have great defensive lines, man. Great defensive lines, right? They've had Sam Adams. They had Tony Siragusa, may he rest in peace. Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata. Continue that trend with Braylon Trice. Like I said, their two top edge rushers, Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney, are both free agents. Obviously, Jadeveon Clowney, they signed him during the offseason, and then Kyle Van Noy, they signed him during the season. And so, to me, there's a chance they don't bring either one of those guys back. And even if they do, Kyle Van Noy, I think he's going to be 33 this year. Clowney, I think he's going to be 32, I believe, 31 or 32. So it just makes sense to add a young guy to that group, and Braylon Trice will be a really, really good pick. Now, we're the last two teams that were just in the Super Bowl. 49ers coming in at pick 31. With the 49ers, y'all saw in that game, man, I mean, they allowed the Chiefs to kind of, slice and dice them through the air, which is surprising because the Chiefs had not done that all year, right? Their receivers have been very inconsistent. And so when I was doing this for the 49ers, I was like, man, this makes a ton of sense. And again, some people might disagree with me on this pick, but I have the San Francisco 49ers taking cornerback Josh Newton out of TCU. And again, some people might say, well, that's a reach. Again, y'all, it's okay. We're going to agree to disagree. There's certain players I like more than others. There's certain players y'all probably like more than others, But I like Josh Newton. I think he fits what the 49ers do anyways, right? The 49ers like to play man, and they like to play zone. And one thing about the 49ers, they don't really like to blitz a lot. Steve Wilks likes to only, rush 4. The problem with that is you need the corners that can really hold up to make that happen, right? If you're only rushing 4 and you leaving your corners on the island, then boom, they could easily, get beat. So for me, that was a no-brainer pick. No-brainer pick. I was like, yes, Josh Newton, definitely got to have him going to the 49ers. They need more help at corner. I like Josh Newton, man. TCU, he's played against some very good wide receivers. Heck, he played a couple of his teammates from last year that got picked. Darius Davis and Quentin Johnston, he went against those guys in practice. Think he would make a ton of sense for the 49ers. And last but not least, man, we got a Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. And hopefully next year I'll be able to say the Super Bowl winning Tennessee Titans. But obviously everyone knows, man, the Chiefs, what do they need, y'all? They need wide receiver help. I mean, everyone knows that. Everybody and their mama knows the Chiefs. Even though they won a Super Bowl, they need wide receiver help. So it was one of those, y'all heard me say, it's one of those no-brainer picks. And I have them taking wide receiver Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Your draft is complete. And so, y'all, let's look at it. My first mock draft. Let's go back and look at it, y'all. First 6 picks. Number 1, Caleb Williams to the Bears. Number 2, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. Number 3, Drake May to the Patriots. Number 4, Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. Number 5, Joe Alt to the Chargers. Number 6, Malik Neighbors. Y'all see these ads want to pop up. Number 6, Malik Neighbors to the Giants. Number 7, Rome Odunze to the Titans. Number 8, Dallas Turner to the Falcons. Number 9, Brock Bowers to the Bears. Number 10, Olufushanu to the Jets. Number 11, Terrion Arnold to the Vikings. Number 12, Cooper DeJean to the Denver Broncos. Number 13, Nate Wiggins to the Raiders. Number 14, Brian Thomas Jr. to the Saints. Number 15, Jared Verse to the Colts. Number 16, J.C. Latham to the Seahawks. Number 17, Quinyon Mitchell to the Jaguars. Number 18, Keon Coleman to the Bengals. Number 19, Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Rams. Number 20, Jersey Newton to the Steelers. Number 21, Latu, like I said, I can't pronounce his first name, to the Dolphins. Number 22, Kamari Lassiter to the Eagles. Number 23, Amaris Mims to the Texans. Number 24, A.D. Mitchell to the Dallas Cowboys. Number 25, Kalen King to the Green Bay Packers. Number 26, Chop Robinson to the Buccaneers. Number 27, Byron Murphy to the Cardinals. Number 28, Xavier Legette to the Bills. Number 29, TJ Tampa to the Lions. Number 30, Berlin Trice to the Ravens. Number 31, Josh Newton to the 49ers. And number 32, y'all, Xavier Worthy to the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, and there y'all have it. That was my first 2024 NFL mock draft. There y'all have it, man. Anybody got any comments, questions, anything? This obviously won't be my last one, but I was like, this is the perfect time. To me, this is a perfect time to give y'all my first NFL mock draft. Obviously, I've done a couple of Titans mock drafts, but this is my first one. And I think this is a good time. You know, the season's over with now. So now we know exactly, where which teams are going to be picking where. So my first 2024 NFL mock draft. I told y'all this was I was going to be on here super long, and I really haven't. I mean, about 46 minutes, not too bad. Because, sometimes I've been on here for like an hour, 30 minutes. But because I already knew who I wanted to pick, it wasn't going to take me long. I just had to show it to y'all. But, yeah, man, they're going to have my first NFL mock draft 2024, 1.0, whatever you want to call it. My first one. Yeah, man, my first one. And first, I was thinking about just doing a video. But then I was like, no, I think it would be really fun if I go live, so that way y'all can actually, see me do it. Y'all can kind of hear me to discuss my dog process going into these picks. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I want to give y'all the rundown for this week. And this could change, but I want to give y'all the rundown for this week. So obviously tonight, I did my my first NFL mock draft. Thursday night, I'm gonna be recapping the NBA trade deadline / first half of the season and what teams are contenders to go to the finals. Friday, I'm gonna give y'all my predictions for NBA All-Star Weekend, including the dunk contest, winning three-point contest, and picking the which team I think is gonna win the NBA All-Star game. Saturday, I'm going to be doing a Tennessee Titans mock draft 3.0. And then Sunday, whatever we want to talk about, literally whatever. So it could be NBA, it could be NFL, it could be any, whatever y'all want to talk about too. Not just me, whatever y'all want to talk about, whatever we just talk. Obviously, as y'all know, we got NBA All-Star Weekend coming up this Friday through Sunday. So I know I'm super excited. I'm pretty sure y'all super excited, man. Yeah, we could also, maybe y'all want to talk that on Sunday, but Sunday we'll just, be whatever. We talk about NFL, we can talk about the NBA, whatever, college basketball, whatever y'all want to talk about. Free agency for the NFL. But yeah, we get, like I said, we talk about the All-Star game. Because obviously the All-Star game will be Sunday night. But yeah, y'all, it's gonna be a very, very fun weekend. NBA All-Star Weekend. I don't know about y'all, but like All-Star Weekend is one of my favorite times of the year because you get to see all the, the star players currently and, all the star players of yesterday come together, really enjoy themselves, interact with each other. I thought a couple years ago when the NBA announced the 75th anniversary team, y'all, it was so cool and kind of emotional too, but it was so cool to see the, the young players interact with the older players, man. I thought it was so cool, man. You get to see, LeBron talking to, a guy like talking to a man like Mr. Evan Hayes, and you got to see CB3, interact with the older guys. It was just so cool, and so forth and so on. It was just so cool, man. Seeing the young generation interact with the older generation. I remember Kawhi was talking to Mr. Dr. J. I just thought that was it was just so fun, man. It was so fun, so cool. So yeah, I can't wait for All-Star Weekend, man. It's gonna be fun, y'all. Tonight, my Los Angeles Lakers are gonna be taking on the Detroit Pistons. I will be watching that game. Yeah, I will be watching that game. I know one of my boys, man, one of my boys on Xbox. Yeah, he was like, man, Zay, Zay, I'm gonna tune into your live stream. But he was like, man, come 9:30, I'm gonna be watching them Lakers play. He was like, come 9:30, I'm gonna be watching them Lakers play. And I told him, yeah, man, same thing for me. Same thing for me. But yeah, the Lakers are coming on 9:30, playing against the Pistons. Obviously, y'all know I'm gonna watch, but yeah, that was so funny. He was like, one of my boys on Xbox, that was so funny. He was like, Zay, I'm gonna tune into your live stream. He's like, but man, when 9:30 comes, I'm turning on that Lakers game. You already know, Lakers Nation. Hopefully, we get the win tonight. Cannot take the Pistons lightly though. We saw what they almost did to the Clippers the other day, so cannot take them boys lightly at all. But yeah, man, there y'all have it. NFL mock draft 2024 1.0. Obviously, we got many more to go. But yeah, shout out to my people on YouTube. Shout out to my people on Twitch. Yeah. But yeah, that's another reason. Oh, yeah, man, that's another reason, though, I did not want to make this too long because the Lakers are coming on at 9:30. And like I said, I told my friend, he was like, Zay, one of my boys on Xbox, he was like, Zay, I'm going to tune into your live stream. He's like, but man, when them Lakers come on 9:30, I'm putting on there. And I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. You know, all day. So that's how y'all know we love sports over here. We try to catch all the games, man. All the games. But yeah, y'all know I'm gonna end it, man. I love y'all. God bless. Remember, laughter is good medicine. So make sure you get your daily dose. Peace.